Welcome back to High School Backups Podcast. My name is Jake. I am here with Kyle. And as you can see, we are doing a mock draft today. The first one that we are doing since the Carolina Panthers traded for the first overall pick. We've got a good one for you today. I'm not going to waste any time. We all know that the Panthers traded DJ Moore and a slew of picks to the Bears to move up from 9 to number 1. They're going to go get their guy in CJ Stroud. Frank Reich has not worked with a quarterback under the height of 6'4". CJ Stroud is 6'3". It fits the mold. Honestly, I just think they're going to go up and get CJ Stroud. I think that's what they made the trade for.
Yeah, CJ Stroud definitely makes sense. It definitely fits the mold of Mike Wright's repertoire that he brings to the Panthers. Um, with that being said, though, I still wouldn't be surprised if Bryce Young does go first overall. Um, I also really wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Richardson even goes. I think that is a bit of a stretch, but it is what the Panthers have done before. It is a very Cam Newton-esque quarterback. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna do Anthony Richardson because it doesn't fit Mike Reich's mold, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is Anthony Richardson.
I don't think it will be. Again, you would have to make it would have to be there would have to be something drastic for it to be Anthony Richardson. Again, I love Anthony Richardson, but it would have to be something drastic.
Yeah,
The Texans are going to go out and get Bryce Young. That I don't think there's really a
Hmm.
question there. They're going to take whichever of the top two quarterbacks are left at number 2, unless Carolina has solely traded up to number 1 to try to entice the Texans to give them 1 and 12, which I don't think is going to happen.
that would be hilarious if it does.
Uh,
Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, it would be hilarious, but I don't see them. I mean, honestly, again, I think the Bears won that trade. That's a whole different discussion that we can have at some point. But I don't see the. There have been a lot of people who are like, "Oh, the Panthers are going to move back down." I don't see that happening. They went up. They're going to go get a quarterback. It's
Yeah, I did
all but
see that
done.
I did send that video to you guys in their group chat
Yeah,
of a situation of that happening. So there are a lot of rumors that that could happen. I
I don't
don't
see
see.
it.
I listen. If I'm the Panthers, I don't make two trades just to end up at four. Like I'd make one trade to end up at four. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Like if you're going to want, why would you move up to one and then all the way back down to like that? Just doesn't. It doesn't seem plausible. Like yeah, you'll get a couple extra bones here and there, but like it just doesn't.
I feel for CJ Stroud though, because that team has no weapons at this point in time. Like, I think their best pass catcher right now is either Terrence Marshall or Laviska Shenault. That I feel for him.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I'm not sure who it is at the moment.
we are going to have more movement in the top 4 because the Cardinals are going to trade this pick to the Raiders. Again, we're going to just swap once to make sure these trades go through. There's going to be more that comes into this. The Raiders are probably going to have to move a second and maybe a third this year, a second next year, a third this year. We're just going to swap once to make the trade go through. And they're going to go get Anthony Richardson, Kyle.
You know, oh, that is an interesting move.
So here's the thing. Here's my justification for Anthony Richardson here. I think the Raiders are going to go get a bridge quarterback this year, whether it be Jimmy Garoppolo or one of the veteran quarterbacks who can play, at the
Hmm.
very least, somewhat capably, while Anthony Richardson gets accustomed to life in the NFL. And Josh McDaniels with Anthony Richardson actually. Josh McDaniels as a head coach hasn't been successful, but as an offensive coordinator and an offensive mind, him having Anthony Richardson actually scares me.
But here's the thing with McDaniel's having Richardson, he's never had a very mobile quarterback to like he had Cam Newton for 1 year.
Yeah, and they went 7
One
and
year.
9 when they should have been a 4 and 12 team.
I mean, I would give more credit to Bill on that one, but
I
regardless,
wouldn't. Cam Newton couldn't throw
regardless.
Cam Newton couldn't throw a football 20 yards down the field at that point in his career. And that offense still looked somewhat competent.
All right, fair enough. I digress, but still, I'm not seeing Anthony Richardson fit into that Raiders' current state.
That's
I
fine.
just doesn't
I
like
like it. I love the fact that they could go get
oh,
somebody like Anthony
fair.
Richardson with that kind of upside. I mean, listen, they're also in Vegas. They need someone who's going to put on a show, and if there's anything that Anthony Richardson can do, it's put on a show. His
Which is fair.
his arm is live. He's a 6'4", 245-pound human being who runs a 4.340.
It will be a sight to see, but just going from Derek Carr to Anthony Richardson to me is just not.
Oh yeah, they're hitting the full reset button. I don't care. They're hitting the full reset button. They're
If
going.
that's the
That's
case,
anti Derek Carr.
they need to start trading away some people here. If that's
Nah,
the case.
nah. Keep the weapons.
I'm not saying the weapons, but there's other pieces you get you can trade, especially Darren Waller. Send him to the Giants, please.
No, don't do that. We got something cooking later. Don't do that. Moving to the Colts, I think we all know what this is going to be. Just give them Will Levis and get out of here. They need a quarterback. Will Levis is the last quarterback left of the top four. It's a run on quarterbacks early.
Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. For all four quarterbacks go in the top five, in the top four.
Yeah, they just run straight off. We're going to go right to Seattle. They're going to love their lives because they can just pick Will Anderson Jr. here at 5 when they shouldn't be able to get him even at 3. But here we are. I don't think I have to even justify that.
No, absolutely not. How do you not go best player available? You just locked up a quarterback, so you're not worried that a quarterback fell to you. Like, you have no issues here. You go get the best defensive player available. Absolutely. Slam dunk.
Literally
Didn't even be a thought.
the worst case scenario for the Seahawks right now is that they absolutely suck and can go get Drake May or Caleb Williams next year. Like that
Yeah.
that's literally the worst case scenario for them. Moving right along to Detroit because I don't think we have to spend too much time with that Seattle pick. We're going to go Joey Porter Jr. at 6. They need a corner. Joey Porter Jr. flashed out of the gym at the combine. So did Christian Gonzalez, who's still my cornerback one on the board. But Joey Porter fits the mold of that Detroit Lions defense. Hard-nosed, fast, athletic, and just plays with a lot of effort. I would like to see him in Dan Campbell's system.
Yeah, they definitely need an upgrade on defense. I definitely see that happening. So I think that's a smart move. They definitely need some sort of significant upgrade in their backfield.
Absolutely. We're going to have another trade here at 7. The Cardinals are going to move back, trading with the Philadelphia Eagles, who are going to move up from 7 to 10. The Eagles get worried that someone's going to jump them for a corner, considering they just lost half their defense, and they are going to go get Christian Gonzalez at 7.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. They're looking like they're going to lose a lot of people. They have a lot of upcoming free agents. So definitely getting an upgrade is definitely needed.
They have lost a lot of pieces on defense over the course of the last 2 weeks. Like, a lot. They brought back Brandon Graham, but they lost Kaiser White. They lost James Bradbury. I think they lost another defensive lineman. I think they lost I think they've lost pieces at every
Key position on defense.
every tier of their defense.
Like, they have lost a lot of pieces, and that makes me very, very happy.
As a Giants fan, yeah.
The NFC East could be up for grabs now. Like, I'm not saying it's a slam dunk, but it could be.
It could be.
They went from top 5 defense to who knows.
They still have a lot of key pieces, but they're gonna have to rebuild. They're gonna have to rebuild in the draft. That's something that's absolutely gonna have to happen.
Correct.
Now moving to Atlanta, Paris Johnson Jr. I go get a tackle. They have pieces on offense. They have a decent amount of weapons. I like Drake London. I like Kyle Pitts. Cordero Patterson in the backfield's doing you at least a serviceable job. They need to protect their quarterback, whoever it may be, whether it's Lamar Jackson, Desmond Ridder, or somebody else. They need to make sure that their quarterback is protected.
Yeah, absolutely. But they also need a lot of other pieces. So really, I think you should go best player available here. But I could see protect the quarterback is probably your priority.
I have Paris Johnson Jr. as the best available player here besides Jalen Carter, but with Jalen Carter's surrounding things off the field, I don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, Jalen Carter is a very tough situation at the moment. Yeah, I don't even really know how to address that situation.
We're not. There's just a situation off the field that's causing him to slide. That's all you need to know.
If you guys don't know what's going on, just do a quick Google search, and you will quickly find out what happened.
Speaking of questions surrounding Jalen Carter, the Chicago Bears are going to go Broderick Jones. You already got Justin Fields, a wide receiver 1, and DJ Moore. You probably feel comfortable with the pairing of Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, and Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney can finally go into the slot where he's going to be his most productive. And now it's time to protect your franchise quarterback. Go get Broderick Jones. Make sure that your line is shored up, and make sure you don't give up the second most sacks in the league again this year.
I think another situation, not situation, another player that could benefit here with the Bears is definitely Peter Skronowski.
Yep,
Um,
Peter Skoronsky definitely could go.
yeah, I think he's definitely 1B option here for the Bears. But the Bears are definitely going to be a very interesting team to watch.
Yes,
I'm very excited to see what they do. Because they have quickly given themselves a lot of
draft
great
capital.
opportunity. Yeah, draft
Yeah.
capital, great opportunities to skyrocket into the NFC North. Like they've given themselves a lot of great potential here.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely love the trade. I thought the Bears won it easily. I think a lot of people are kind of going back and forth. I looked at what the Bears got and said, well, they got DJ Moore, who's an extra first round pick, 2 firsts and 2 seconds for the first overall. Yeah, I think they won that trade. I'm not going to lie to you. Moving right on to Arizona at 10. I'm going to keep this brief. They need secondary help. Devon Witherspoon becomes the third corner off the board. He is quickly becoming probably my favorite corner in this draft class, besides maybe Christian Gonzalez. But Devon Witherspoon to the Cardinals makes a lot of sense. Even for his slight frame, he is aggressive attacking the football, makes a lot of good tackles, very good in coverage, and depending on what he shows at his pro day, is seemingly incredibly athletic. He didn't test at the combine.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon's definitely a great option here. Cardinals do need a lot of help, a lot of
A
help.
lot of
Uh,
help.
they're losing a lot of pieces as well. Not to mention they already desperately needed pieces. So the Cardinals do need a lot of help. So going out and solidifying a top defense is definitely a good starting point.
No, I love this pick for the Cardinals. I think it helps them rebuild their secondary, which has been deteriorating ever since Patrick Peterson left.
Mm.
Moving to Tennessee, your guy Peter Skoronsky will be the pick here. I need to go find him on this little thing because he's at 22 when he should be in the top 20. The Titans, especially with the fact that they may trade Derrick Henry, which every mock trade for Derrick Henry has it being like a second or a third round pick instead of a first, which I don't understand. But they need to build up that offensive line to make sure they're protecting Malik Willis and whoever their running back is next year, whether it be Derrick Henry or not.
Mhm.
They need to pack up wide receivers too. I think they'll probably address that later in the draft and or in free agency, but for now they need to shore up their offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think they need to fix their line. It definitely showed that they had some holes with it, especially when Ryan Tannehill was playing. He looks like
Their offensive line looked
it was
atrocious.
awful. It was so bad.
So bad. Now the Texans are going to take Tyree Wilson here. Athletic freak. He fell out of the top 10 in this mock draft. I don't know if that happens in real life, but by the way the board fell, Tyree Wilson to the Texans at 12 is a wonderful addition for them. Tyree Wilson stays in Texas.
Yeah, it's a fair move. They definitely need some edge help.
Yeah, they do. They need
Texans
help
are
everywhere.
yeah, they do. Definitely getting that extra edge help though will definitely upgrade their defense.
I mean, also with the rumors that they could be trading Brandon Cooks, I mean, they could be rebuilding again for the fifth time in 7 years. But hey,
Remember when the Texans were good for a couple of years?
yeah, I do. I remember when they had Matt Schaub and made the playoffs. I do remember that. Now, the Jets are
Wow.
trading this pick to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers. I don't really care what anybody has to say. That's what they're doing. We're just gonna give the Jets a seventh next year. There's gonna be a whole slew of picks the Jets are gonna lose trading for Aaron Rodgers. One of them is 100% gonna be 13 this year. I think. I think it's gonna probably be a first this year, a third this year, and maybe a second or a first next year. I don't know if the Packers get the second first round pick given Rodgers' age, but they're going to get the first this year.
Yeah, that trade is going to be wild. I did see already that the trade has been essentially agreed to.
They're just waiting for Rodgers to approve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Who are the Packers selecting here then, Jake?
I'm going to give them Miles Murphy. I think they need more edge help. They lost to Darius Smith. Their defense, they've been focusing on building their defense in recent drafts. They took Quay Walker last year. I think going and getting Miles Murphy adds an additional portion of that defense that they're going to absolutely love to have. I mean, they're going to be in rebuilding mode. They're not going to take a quarterback, especially with the top four off the board. They're going to roll with Jordan Love. It could be a receiver. I don't think so. It's not their forte, especially after getting Christian Watson, who did emerge at the end of last season as a really good wide receiver. I think Alan Lazard's still playing really well for them, but for now, they need to continue to build this defense.
Yeah, defense definitely was their weak point last year.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think their defense played fine. I think just continuously adding pieces to it will only help extend that. Their offense was lackluster last year,
That too.
Not because of Aaron Rodgers. They were just lackluster at a lot of positions. Moving to the Patriots, this is where the first wide receiver comes off the board. I think it's going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. He showed a lot at the combine, first and foremost. Tested better than everybody thought he was going to be. And with Jacoby Myers most likely on the way out, adding Jackson Smith and Jigba to be that slot guy for you, while you have Bourne and Devontae Parker at the very least on the outside, is probably the best bet. You throw in Tyquan Thornton in there, and I think the weapons and the pieces start to come together for Mac Jones and the Patriots.
Yeah, definitely need another wide receiver,
Yeah.
especially if they are losing Myers.
If
Smith and
they
Jigba.
if Jacoby Myers is still in the team, I wouldn't make this receiver pick. I'm assuming at this point that Jacoby Myers is gone, which hurts me because I love Jacoby Myers. I think he's a really good receiver. Jackson Smith and Jigba may be slightly better, but I really do like Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, Jacob Myers kind of already looks like he's on the way out. I don't know if he'll be as good elsewhere though, so I'm curious to see what kind of what happens with him. But Smith Jigba is a great pick. He looks pretty decent in the combine. So I think taking that year off to heal was really smart choice for him. I'm curious if the Patriots really do take that risk pick though, or instead go Quentin Johnson
See,
from TCU it's over him. But yeah, it's curious, but let's see.
we all know I love Quentin Johnson. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba just fits that system better.
Which is fair. Yeah,
Like,
I think it is just a big risk to take it though.
oh yeah, no, I mean I think it's a risk to take any of these receivers this high. Honestly, this isn't like the last two wide receiver classes. We've been spoiled with receivers that should be going in the top 10 falling to like 15 because of how much talent there is there. All of these receivers are like mid first to late second round grades, depending on what team you talk to. But we're going to move to the Packers at 15, who are going to get Darnell Washington out of Georgia. He really impressed me at the combine. Honestly, I thought Michael Mayer was tight end one. Darnell Washington showed me some different things. He hasn't primarily been a pass catcher at Georgia because Brock Bowers is there, but he made an incredible one-handed grab. His hands were better than I thought they were going to be. Plus, the man moved a sled 10 yards without even thinking about it, while every other tight end had to struggle to get it 5. I think Green Bay will absolutely love to have Darnell Washington, and adding his athleticism and size will only help Jordan Love.
Yeah, that tight end getting an upgraded tight end position for Green Bay would be significantly better for them. And that's a great pick from Georgia. He's a really good blocking tight end. So,
He is.
but
He's
his
a very good blocker.
if they can use his hands in Green Bay, he could kind of become a little mini Mark Andrews, to be honest.
That's actually a really good comp, to be honest. But honestly, I just think they need more weapons, and Darnell
Yeah.
Washington adds that. With Washington, we're going to go back to the defensive side of the ball. They're going to go Cam Smith out of South Carolina. Again, a guy who's been falling in recent mock drafts, but we all know that Cam Smith is an athletic corner which can shoot up draft boards, and he's big. He's a boundary corner. It's a boring pick, but they seriously need secondary help.
Yeah, they do. Very badly. So it fits the team.
It does. Pittsburgh, I have something interesting happening. We're going to go Quentin Johnston out of TCU here.
Ooh.
First and foremost, the Steelers need more weapons for Kenny Pickett. They traded Chase Claypool last year, leaving them with George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is not a wide receiver one in the NFL, given his frame, his stature, and different things like that. I think he's best used in the slot, given his speed and ability to run after the catch. Putting Quentin Johnson on a team with George Pickens and Pat Fryermuth would absolutely make their offense actually scary. With Quentin Johnson having downfield potential and George Pickens being somebody who just catches everything. Add in Deontay Johnson and Pat Fryermuth to that, along with Najee Harris, and all of a sudden you've got an offense that is filled with skill position players for Kenny Pickett. I love this pick.
I think that would be very interesting, considering the NFC North is kind of falling apart.
The
Very
AFC
not
North?
NFC, AFC
Yeah,
North. Sorry, my bad.
you're
Yeah,
good.
AFC North is kind of
You could say
really
the
this.
same thing about the NFC North, by the way.
Yes, like you can, but like the AFC North is really kind of just like
Falling apart.
weird. It is. It's weird at the moment because like the Ravens are going to be who knows what without Lamar.
If they don't bring back Lamar.
Correct. Right. If they don't bring back Lamar, the Browns are just the Browns.
And
The
the Bengals
Steelers,
have so much shit going on, nobody can keep track.
right? So, like the Steelers could sneakily be very good if they get Quentin Johnson here. I don't really agree that they need him. I think I don't fully agree that Deontay Johnson isn't a wide receiver one. I understand his frame kind of holds him back a bit, but I could see him still being their wide receiver one. But regardless, this pick would really benefit the
Then let
Steelers.
me put it this way: I think he becomes even more productive in the slot. If he's your
That's fair.
first option, I'd rather have him on the slot than on the outside.
That's fair. That's fair.
Moving to Detroit, I love that analysis, by the way, Kyle. You're absolutely right. The
Thank
Steelers
you.
could be a sneaky pick in the AFC North if the Bengals
Mm.
do actually have some problems going on there, and the Ravens don't either bring back Lamar Jackson or Lamar is hurt. Moving to Detroit, we're going to go with tight end out of Utah, Dalton Kincaid. So Dalton
Mm.
Kincaid's got the best hands of any tight end in this class. They traded away T.J. Hawkinson. At this point, the thought process is just get weapons around Jared Goff and let this offense cook. Um, they already took a corner in at 6 and with Joey Porter Jr. And getting a tight end here makes a lot of sense. After trading away T.J. Hawkinson, their tight end room was kind of lax. And adding a pass catcher here allows them to just have more weapons around Jared Goff. He's going to need to refine his blocking to really be somebody who fits that Dan Campbell system. But at this point, add speed and hands around Jared Goff and let him cook.
Yeah, they definitely need a little. They definitely need a tight end. That's their biggest hole on offense at the moment. Another option though I could see them doing here is running back, only because there are rumors that DeAndre Swift won't be returning. Um,
Honestly, I think Detroit might be
so
a Derrick Henry destination. I'm not going to lie to you.
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I was reading.
Um,
I was reading up on where Derrick Henry could go, and that was one of the big places.
that would be interesting. Then the NFC North would be real fun.
Oh yeah,
I
it would
would
be
love
absolutely
that.
fun. I would have so that would be a real interesting time in the NFC North.
Oh yeah.
Especially, I don't think the Vikings are going to be as good next year,
No, I don't either.
especially without Adam Thielen, and they've already lost Cam Dantzler,
Mm.
and their defense already wasn't good to begin with. So
Defense sucks. They got carried by Kirk Cousins, literally.
I don't know. Well, Kyle, you're gonna love this because the Tampa Bay Bucks are trading the 19th overall pick to the Giants for 25. The Giants have a lot of needs, but this is also going to be a tight end. They have seen the run of tight ends that have gone, and they're going to go get Michael Mayer to get a sure-handed tight end to help out Daniel Jones. Their $40 million quarterback. What a joke.
Oh hey, we're not talking about him here. I already defended him. Listen, but anyway, tight end. We definitely need. Daniel Bellinger is not a blocking tight end, and he's not really a catching tight end. He's just a
He's just a body.
there. He's just a body essentially. I like Daniel Bellinger. He just wasn't what I was hoping he would be. So definitely getting a better tight end is definitely gonna help the Giants out for sure.
Michael Mayer also had a wonderful combine. He's a great pass
Yeah.
catcher, and he was second on the sled to Darnell Washington, so he can block. I think the Giants are getting a very well-rounded player. With Seattle, honestly, they added Will Anderson Jr. They could go defense again, but I think shoring up this offensive line for Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, and those receivers probably makes more sense. They need a guard. They're going to go with Osiris Torrance out of Florida. This will incredibly help Kenneth Walker because Osiris Torrance is an absolute mauler of a run blocker.
Yeah, Osiris Torrance is a great addition there in Seattle. Definitely would be needed because they would definitely be able to that benefit would be definitely seen on day one, essentially.
Absolutely. He's a plug and play guy. You can just put him in at right or left guard, and he's going to go play good football for you.
Absolutely.
San Diego is going to go get a burner at wide receiver. It's going to be Jalen Hyatt. They need somebody who can stretch the field next to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Keenan Allen is a great route runner. Mike Williams is a guy who catches in traffic. You need somebody who can stretch the field. Jalen Hyatt is that guy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely could see the Chargers. I think you called them San Diego for a second.
Oh,
But
Los Angeles, my bad.
all good.
I probably did say San Diego. I have no problem with it. They belong in San Diego anyway. Nobody likes them in Los Angeles.
Even Los Angeles fans don't like them in Los Angeles.
What Los Angeles fans?
That's valid.
There
But
are
anyway,
Rams fans, by the way. There are Rams fans in Los Angeles. There are just no Chargers fans in Los Angeles.
but anyway, the Chargers getting another wide receiver would be dangerous for Justin Herbert.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, there would be absolutely no excuses if they get one. How many more excuses can we give Justin Herbert?
Bro, there haven't been excuses given to Justin Herbert except for the fact that their defense sucks.
There's been a lot of excuses given.
Not
to
for
Justin
me,
Herbert.
because I think Justin Herbert's played wonderfully. It's just their defense is fucking garbage. And I don't see them ever investing in it, so we're just going to continue to add on weapons until Justin Herbert scores 40 points a game. Moving to Baltimore, this is where a run on receiver starts. They're going to go get Jordan Addison. He didn't have the best combine, but on tape, he's a great wide receiver. He's a football guy. I mean, people put a lot of weight into the 40-yard dash time at the combine. I don't necessarily look at it like that. If you test off the charts, obviously I'm going to be impressed by it. But Jordan Addison on tape looks fast. I'm not going to be worried about a 4.5 40 time when on tape he looks like he's outrunning people. So Baltimore's going to go get their wide receiver one. Hopefully Lamar Jackson is there to actually enjoy it. If he's not, Tyler Huntley, have fun.
Yeah, Jordan Addison's definitely a smart pick for Baltimore. They need wide receivers. Not Jordan Addison. Sorry, you said
No, Jordan Addison.
You did say Jordan Addison. Okay.
Yeah, it's Jordan
I thought you said
Addison.
someone else was. Jordan Addison's definitely a good pick for them. He didn't have the best combine as you said, but it's
Listen,
combine.
there are guys who need to have great combines. Jordan Addison was not one of them.
Yeah, the combine is always so tough because I don't like really reading into it that much.
There are certain players where you watch, like Anthony Richardson. You watch to see how athletic he truly was. You knew he was athletic, but you wanted to see how athletic he actually was, whether he was going to run a 4.5 or a 4.3. He ran a 4.3. He's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the combine is for guys who are essentially on that bubble of being like top tier, or are they just good?
Yeah.
Jordan Addison already had solidified himself in the top tier of this receiver class. He didn't need to have a great combine. We all knew he wasn't going to test out the gym. But when you put the tape on, he's outrunning every corner that plays him. So I'm not too worried about it. With Minnesota, we're going to move on. There's going to be another wide receiver going, Zay Flowers. I think he's the perfect Adam Thielen replacement. Zay can fly, but he's also a wonderful route runner. You add incredible speed and somebody who can create separation, and he's the perfect Adam Thielen replacement.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. 100% agree.
Jacksonville, on the other hand, this is where the run on receiver stops. They need defensive help incredibly. It's going to be Brian Branch out of Alabama. They're going to get somebody who can play overhang safety, deep third safety, can play in the nickel spot, somebody who can play in the box. Brian Branch can essentially do it all from the safety position, and that is somebody that the Jaguars need on their defense.
Yeah, they definitely need it. He looked really good in college with Alabama. I don't think safeties have been on the combine yet, right?
They have. The combine's over. Brian Branch, it doesn't matter what he does at the combine. It really doesn't. It does not matter.
Fair enough.
What you're getting in Brian Branch is not an athletic freak. You're getting somebody who reminds me a lot of Devin McCourty, who is incredibly smart. I'm talking veteran Devin McCourty. Young Devin McCourty was more athletic and just making plays. Old Devin McCourty, who was beating everybody with his brain. That's who you're getting in Brian Branch.
Fair enough.
The Tampa Bay Bucks at 25, traded down. Looking at the board, they don't see wide receiver or any other needs, so they're going to go get a tight end. They need one desperately. It's going to be Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. And honestly, they need a tight end. That was very obvious last year that they needed a tight end in the red zone, and they can address other needs later in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know what the Bucks are really going to do. They do need a lot of help.
They are unpredictable at this point.
Yeah.
The sad thing
it's
is
still,
that where they need pieces, all the great players are going to be off the board by the time they pick.
Oh, 100%. So they're really just kind of being a crapshoot. Unless they can get a good quarterback in free agency, then I don't really think whatever they do in the draft matters.
They're also they're also in cap hell. They're not going to be able to do much.
they're
They may be going into next year rolling with Kyle Trask, which is what it is.
correct.
The Dallas Cowboys. How can I say this nicely? This is where Jalen Carter's slide stops. Jerry Jones is just going to go, wow, Jalen Carter's still on the board? Give me that, man. I'm going to put him next to Micah Parsons and let them wreak havoc, and that's what's going to happen here. Sorry, Kyle. The NFC East gets better.
Yeah, that does sound like a very Dallas pick, so it makes sense.
I also don't think he's actually going to slide this far, but with
No.
everything surrounding him right now and without much detail, depending on what actually happens, he said he's going to be exonerated from everything. I tend to believe him. Innocent until proven guilty, different things like that. The entire situation's a little murky. But if it overhangs the draft, he could slide anywhere to like 10 to 30, to be honest with you. And I think Dallas just can't pass up getting an interior pass rusher.
I don't think Dallas really, because the thing was with Dallas is they don't fully need the position. This would be an added benefit. So if something happens to Jalen Carter where he cannot play, Dallas doesn't lose out on anything.
And I mean, they're picking at 26 for a reason. Their team is very good, and I don't think they're
Correct.
losing many pieces.
I don't think so either. I think they're going to kind of be stuck together.
With Buffalo, we're going to go a little bit unconventional here. I'm going to go with Christopher Smith II out of Georgia. He is not a name you're going to see in a lot of mock drafts, but this is a need pick for Buffalo. They're most likely losing Jordan Poyer in free agency, and Micah Hyde is a free agent next year. You don't know what's going to happen with everything else in your secondary. Getting an athletic guy who can play that Micah Hyde and or Jordan Poyer role is going to be very important. Christopher Smith II is that guy.
Yeah, it's definitely a good pick for Buffalo. They definitely need help there.
He's also
Essentially-
I know you know a lot about him because he's a Georgia guy, but he's also an incredible ball hawk. He's led the Georgia defense in interceptions the last 2 years, I believe. So getting a guy with this type of athletic profile and those type of ball hawking skills is going to help the Bills immensely.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps the Bills out with the pieces they're losing. So Buffalo fans, no need to worry. You will stay dominant.
We're speaking about a lot of uncertainty the last few picks here. Let's just continue it with the Cincinnati Bengals not knowing what's going on with their entire offensive skill position players. They're going to go get Bijan Robinson in case Joe Mixon ends up somewhere other than Cincinnati. There's a lot of uncertainty around Joe Mixon. There's a lot of different reports coming out of that situation. Just in case Joe Mixon can't play football next year, let's go get Bijan Robinson, who is an absolute talent at the running back position.
Smart decision. I think that is a great fit for them. I think they should go get Bijan Robinson regardless of the Joe Mixon situation, just to have a nice secondary. I love Samaje Perine, but he is not.
Bijan Robinson is not a back you take to be a number 2. He can't be.
He could, to me, doing that is essentially what Dallas has with Zeke and
No, Joe Mixon and Bijan Robinson would be miles better than Zeke.
Exactly.
Miles.
But it's still the same type situation. And that would solidify Cincinnati's run game.
Bijan Robinson is that dude who comes in and is automatically a top 10 running back in the league. That is the type of talent you're getting. We are going to move on to New Orleans. They have traded up here. They now have Derek Carr, so there's no need to force them to pick a quarterback. I think they're going to go Brian Bresee here, shore up the middle of their defensive line, add a guy who can add some interior pass rush. And they are apparently talking about extending Michael Thomas. I thought they would be talking about trading Michael Thomas, but here we are.
Yeah, I think they want to keep whatever weapons they can for Derek Carr, so that makes sense. Um,
My
it
biggest
makes
problem is
sense.
that Michael Thomas doesn't play.
Yeah,
He's
no,
played a
that's
total of like 16 games over the last 3 years. It might be
yeah.
less than that.
I think it is less than that. Yeah.
That's sad.
But the talent that he had is there, you know. So as
Well,
long
yeah,
as
I mean, the last time we saw him was 2019, really, and he had 147 catches.
yeah. So the talent is there. If he can come back, if they get him at a decent sized contract where they're not going to be in cap hell, I don't even know if they can trade him
They
because I
already
think
are in cap hell.
well, yeah, but not more cap hell.
That's fair. That's
But,
fair. That's
eh.
fair. Uh, you're not gonna like this pick either because Philly is gonna continue to get better on defense. They're gonna pick.
Oh,
They're gonna pick Trenton Simpson here. I think he's perfect
fair
Kazir
enough.
White replacement. He's a little bit smaller than Kazir White, but he's incredibly athletic. Can make plays from sideline to sideline, and can play the overhang defender position. When you get Christian Gonzalez and Trenton Simpson, you're getting incredibly athletic on defense. I really like this pick for the Eagles.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. There are a lot of really good linebackers that are coming up for this position that they could go with. There is also Drew Sanders, Jack Campbell, all
Henry
of which would
Toa
be
can go.
yeah,
Um,
all of which would be great additions. They definitely would need a nice replacement for the
Noah
linebacker.
Sewell could go here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's a lot of pieces the Eagles could go here. They're in a really good spot. So yeah, definitely is good.
the only reason I went Trenton Simpson over any one of those guys, by the way, is first and foremost, he's the most athletic of the bunch. He's a little bit
Yeah, fair enough.
undersized, but he fits that Kazir White role really well, and that's why Trenton Simpson is the pick. Kansas City is probably looking at the board going, what in the world happened? Because Lucas Van Ness is still on the board, and that's exactly where they're going to go to end this mock draft. They get a really good edge rusher who hasn't really played full time, and they need a pass rush to continue to help Patrick Mahomes and to help continue to win Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's really surprising that Van Ness is still on the board, but I mean,
He's one of those guys that has risen very fast. So
yeah.
with my mock drafts, I don't know really where to place him. He could go anywhere from top 10 to second round at this point. And this is just one where the board fell where he ended up at 31. There's going to be other mock drafts that we do where he ends up in the top 10.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
And so he's going to be one of those guys that people are going to see either pop on tape or pop at the combine, and they're really going to like him, but the production just isn't there because he wasn't utilized well at Iowa. So I tend to try to be like, let's pump the brakes because we really don't know who this guy is.
Right, which is fair. Fair
Now,
assessment.
Now, on that note, guys, thank you for sticking around for the entire video. If you like the video, please make sure to like, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. High School Backups on all three. And on that note, peace.